Welcome to my channel, Learn English. If you're looking to improve your English speaking skills, you're in the right place. Whether you're a beginner or already on your journey, this story will guide you through powerful tips, proven techniques, and inspiring strategies to help you speak English confidently and fluently. Let's begin your transformation, step by step, word by word. Get ready to unlock your voice in English. Part 1. This section introduces the mindset shift needed to speak English confidently. It highlights the importance of treating English as a living skill rather than an academic subject. It encourages immersion, listening practice, setting clear goals, and building confidence through speaking despite mistakes. Key strategies include self-talk, shadowing, and vocabulary in context. The focus is on starting small, being consistent, and overcoming initial hesitation to develop a habit of using English in daily life. The beginning, understanding the journey. Improving your English speaking skills begins with a shift in mindset. Many learners approach English as a subject to be memorized, rather than a skill to be practiced. This fundamental misunderstanding can become a major roadblock. The key is to see English as a tool, a bridge to better opportunities, deeper connections, and a richer understanding of the world. Speaking a new language is like learning to play a musical instrument. It takes time, patience, and daily practice. You must be willing to sound imperfect before you sound fluent. It's not about getting everything right immediately. It's about communicating, making mistakes, and growing from them. In many non-English speaking countries, English is often treated as a purely academic subject, which leads to an overemphasis on grammar and reading while neglecting speaking and listening. A student might score well on written tests but freeze when asked a simple question in English. This is because communication is an active process. It requires not only vocabulary and grammar but also confidence, rhythm, and social awareness. True improvement comes when learners begin to treat English as a living, breathing part of their lives. The sooner you start using the language actively, the faster you'll see progress. The first practical step in improving your English speaking is immersing yourself in the language. Immersion doesn't mean you have to move to an English-speaking country. It means surrounding yourself with English in your daily life. This can be as simple as watching English movies and shows without subtitles, listening to English podcasts during your commute, or following English-speaking influences on social media. Immersion helps tune your ears to the natural sounds, intonations, and flow of the language. It allows your brain to start thinking in English, making speaking more spontaneous and natural. Listening and speaking are deeply connected. You can't speak what you haven't heard. That's why active listening is crucial. Don't just hear English. Listen to it. Notice how native speakers form their sentences, where they pause, how they emphasize certain words, and how their tone changes in different contexts. Mimicking these patterns is one of the most effective ways to improve your own speaking. Shadowing, a technique where you repeat after a speaker in real time, can train your mouth and mind to work in harmony. It may feel silly at first, but it's one of the fastest ways to build fluency. At this early stage, it's also important to set realistic, specific goals. Saying, "I want to speak English fluently," is too vague. Instead, aim for goals like, "I want to hold a 5-minute conversation with a native speaker within a month," or, "I want to describe my day in English every night." These mini-goals keep you motivated and help track progress. Fluency isn't a switch you turn on. It's a gradual climb, step by step. Celebrate small wins. Even saying one new sentence correctly is a victory worth noting. Confidence plays a huge role in speaking. Many learners know more English than they give themselves credit for but are too shy or afraid to speak up. Fear of making mistakes can be paralyzing. But here's the truth. Mistakes are not failures. They are evidence that you're trying, and trying is how you learn. Think of children learning to talk. They stumble, they mispronounce, they mix words, and they keep going. No one criticizes them because making errors is part of the process. As an adult learner, give yourself the same grace. Speak boldly, even if you stumble. Another helpful strategy is self-talk. If you don't have someone to practice with, talk to yourself in English. Narrate your actions as you cook, clean, or walk. Say your thoughts aloud. Practice imaginary conversations in front of a mirror. This may seem awkward at first, but it strengthens your speaking muscles and builds fluency. Over time, thinking in English will become second nature. The more you speak, even to yourself, the more confident and fluid you become. Incorporating vocabulary expansion into your daily life also helps improve your speaking. Learn words and phrases in context, not in isolation. For example, instead of memorizing the word appointment, learn the full sentence. I have a doctor's appointment tomorrow. This helps with retention and shows you how to use the word naturally. Flashcards, vocabulary journals, and apps like Anki or Quizlet can be useful tools. But don't stop at learning the meaning, practice saying the word in sentences out loud. Lastly, find a speaking partner. This could be a language exchange buddy, a tutor, or even an online community. Practicing with real people is the most effective way to solidify your skills. It pushes you to listen actively, think quickly, and respond appropriately. Start with short, simple conversations and gradually increase complexity. Remember, your partner doesn't need to be a native speaker. Even speaking with fellow learners can be extremely beneficial. The point is to get comfortable using English in real-life situations. Part 2. Part 2 explores practical, structured methods to develop speaking skills. It emphasizes a balanced daily routine with activities like listen and repeat, vocabulary practice, pronunciation training, and recording yourself. Learners are encouraged to use sentence patterns, practice free speaking, and interact regularly with others. It also discusses the role of apps, language exchange partners, and keeping a learning journal. This part builds the core fluency and confidence needed for longer conversations. Building the foundation, tools, techniques, and daily practice. To truly build a strong foundation in English speaking, you need a well-balanced routine. Many learners make the mistake of focusing on one aspect, like grammar drills or vocabulary lists, while ignoring others. But just like building muscle, speaking skills improve best when you train all the components: listening, vocabulary, pronunciation, fluency, and confidence. Think of your daily routine as a workout plan. You need a mix of exercises to strengthen different parts. A good starting point is to allocate 30 to 60 minutes a day to focused English speaking activities. Even a consistent 15 minutes a day can lead to massive progress over time. Start with listening and repeating exercises. Choose a short video clip, podcast episode, or movie scene in English, something just a few minutes long. Listen to it once without subtitles. Then, go back and listen sentence by sentence, pausing to repeat each line out loud. Try to imitate the speaker's tone, speed, and intonation. This listen and repeat method not only sharpens your pronunciation but also improves muscle memory. Over time, your speech will become smoother and more natural. Don't worry if you can't get every sound perfect right away. Fluency comes with repetition and patience. Pronunciation often holds learners back from speaking confidently. It's easy to get discouraged when others can't understand you, even if your grammar is correct. To improve pronunciation, you can use tools like Youglish, which shows how words are pronounced in real YouTube videos. For more advanced support, try apps like Elsa Speak or Speechling, which give instant feedback on your spoken English. Another effective technique is minimal pairs practice. These are pairs of words that differ by just one sound, like ship and sheep. Training your ear and mouth to distinguish and pronounce these correctly can make a big difference. A powerful but underused strategy is recording yourself. This may feel uncomfortable at first, but it's a game changer. When you listen to your own voice, you'll notice patterns, mistakes, and improvements you didn't hear while speaking. Start by reading aloud short texts or describing your day in English. Record it on your phone and play it back. Ask yourself, did I pronounce the words clearly? Was my rhythm natural? Over time, you'll be able to hear your progress, and that's incredibly motivating. It also gives you direct insight into how others might perceive your speech. Daily practice should also include free speaking, talking about anything, without a script. This could be journaling out loud, explaining a recipe, or giving your opinion on a recent news event. If you're not ready to speak to someone else, speak to yourself or record a video blog. Free speaking helps you practice thinking in English, which is essential for fluency. You'll learn to find your words more quickly and express complex ideas more clearly. Even 5 minutes a day can boost your speaking ability dramatically. Another useful tool is learning sentence patterns. Instead of memorizing isolated words, focus on commonly used sentence structures. For example, I'm planning to, verb, I used to, verb, or, would you mind if I, verb. These patterns are the backbone of everyday conversations. When you have these templates in mind, forming sentences becomes much easier and faster. Practice filling in the blanks with different words and contexts. This not only builds your vocabulary but also gives you a reliable framework for real conversations. Speaking skills also improve through interaction. Join online conversation clubs, language exchanges, or discussion groups. Platforms like Speaky, Hello Talk, Tandem, or even Reddit's language_exchange can connect you with people around the world who are eager to practice. If you're more introverted, consider attending small, focused sessions or hiring a private tutor for personalized guidance. The key is consistency. Even talking with someone once or twice a week can greatly accelerate your progress. To maintain long-term motivation, track your progress. Keep a journal of what you practiced each day. Note down new phrases you used, mistakes you made, and things you improved on. Regular reflection helps you recognize growth and keeps you focused. You might also set monthly speaking goals. For example, recording a 1-minute video about your weekend or having a full conversation without switching to your native language. These milestones provide structure and a sense of achievement. Lastly, build your vocabulary strategically. Instead of trying to learn hundreds of random words, focus on themes relevant to your life, like hobbies, work, family, or travel. Use the 3 exposure rule. Try to hear, read, and speak each new word in context at least 3 times. Write sentences using the new words, and try to say them out loud during your speaking sessions. This active use is what truly locks vocabulary into memory. And always favor quality over quantity. It's better to know 100 words that you can use fluently than 1,000 words you never speak. Building your English speaking foundation doesn't happen overnight, but daily commitment and smart strategies will get you there. The process might be uncomfortable at first, but the more you engage with it, the more enjoyable and rewarding it becomes. Remember, fluency is not perfection. It's being able to express yourself confidently and be understood by others. Keep moving forward, and every word you speak brings you one step closer to that goal. Part 3. This part focuses on emotional and psychological barriers to speaking English. It addresses fear of mistakes, comparison, perfectionism, and frustration during plateaus. Learners are reminded that mistakes are part of progress, and that confidence comes from action. Strategies include changing self-talk, finding community, dealing with burnout, and recognizing small victories. The message is one of persistence. Growth comes from continuing to speak even when it's hard. Overcoming challenges, fear, frustration, and breakthroughs. Every language learner, no matter how motivated, eventually hits a wall. It might come after a few weeks, a few months, or even years into the journey. This plateau can feel deeply frustrating. Suddenly, progress slows, enthusiasm fades, and self-doubt creeps in. You might think, why am I still struggling? Or, maybe I'm just not good at languages. But this feeling is not a sign of failure, it's a sign that you're advancing to a deeper level of learning. The early improvements are the easiest. The real challenge, and the real growth, happens when things get hard. One of the biggest obstacles in speaking English is fear. Fear of making mistakes, fear of being laughed at, fear of being misunderstood. This fear can make you go silent, even when you know the words. It's important to understand that fear is not your enemy. It's a natural part of learning. The goal isn't to eliminate fear but to act in spite of it. Courage isn't speaking perfect English. Courage is speaking anyway, knowing you'll make mistakes but choosing to communicate. Over time, with repeated exposure and small successes, fear loses its power. Another major challenge is comparison. It's easy to look at fluent speakers and feel inferior. But comparing yourself to others is not only unfair, it's unhelpful. You don't know their full story. They may have studied for years, lived abroad, or started from a different level. Instead of measuring your progress against someone else's, measure it against your own past self. Can you say things today you couldn't say last month? Did you understand a movie scene without subtitles? That's growth. Focus on your personal journey. Progress isn't always loud, but it's always happening. Sometimes, frustration comes from feeling stuck at an intermediate level. You know enough English to get by, but you can't express yourself freely. Your mind races to find the right words, and your speech feels slow and forced. This is the intermediate plateau, and it's common. The way to push through it is by challenging yourself with new input and more complex speaking tasks. Start reading more advanced texts, watching longer videos, and joining deeper conversations. Push your boundaries. It may feel uncomfortable at first, but discomfort is the soil where fluency grows. Perfectionism is another hidden enemy. Many learners think they need to speak perfectly or not at all. They correct themselves mid-sentence, hesitate for the right word, or avoid speaking altogether until they know enough. But waiting for perfection is a trap. Fluency doesn't mean flawless grammar. Native speakers make grammar mistakes too. What matters is clarity, confidence, and connection. Speak imperfectly. Speak boldly. The more you speak, the better you'll become. And often, it's through mistakes that you learn the most. Negative self-talk can also sabotage your progress. Telling yourself things like, "I'm terrible at English," "I'll never be fluent," or "I always mess up," becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Words matter, even the ones you say to yourself. Replace those thoughts with empowering ones. "I'm learning, I've improved a lot, every day I speak better." Confidence isn't something you're born with, it's something you build. And it starts with believing in your ability to grow. In tough times, community helps. Surround yourself with fellow learners who understand your struggle. Join language forums, conversation clubs, or online support groups. Share your setbacks and celebrate your wins together. When others share their challenges, you realize you're not alone. And when you see others overcome their fears and improve, you're inspired to keep going. Language learning is a journey best taken with others. Your community can be your cheerleaders, coaches, and fellow warriors. Burnout is another challenge. When you push yourself too hard or set unrealistic goals, you can quickly lose motivation. It's okay to rest. Take breaks when needed. Let your brain absorb what you've learned. Language learning isn't a sprint, it's a marathon. Some days will be better than others. What matters is consistency over time. Don't quit just because it's hard today. Tomorrow might feel easier. Be gentle with yourself, and remember why you started. It's also important to recognize and celebrate breakthroughs, no matter how small. Maybe you ordered food in English without hesitation. Maybe a native speaker complimented your accent. Maybe you held a conversation for 10 minutes without switching to your native tongue. These moments are gold. Write them down, replay them in your mind. Let them remind you that you are improving. Success builds confidence, and confidence fuels progress. Finally, remind yourself that English is just a tool, a means to connect, express, and explore. It doesn't define your intelligence or your worth. You're not just learning a language, you're expanding your world. Every awkward pause, every mispronounced word, every brave attempt is a step closer to the speaker you want to be. And that speaker is not out of reach. They're already inside you, growing stronger with every word. Part 4. Part 4 guides learners from basic fluency to advanced expression. It introduces high-level techniques like using idioms, phrasal verbs, discourse markers, and practicing formal versus informal styles. Pronunciation is refined through rhythm, stress, and intonation. Learners are encouraged to shadow skilled speakers, analyze their own speech, and adapt to different speaking contexts. This part deepens fluency into mastery, where speech becomes expressive, clear, and adaptable. Advanced strategies, from fluency to mastery. Once you reach a stage where you can communicate comfortably in English, you've achieved fluency, but mastery is a deeper level. Mastery means not just being understood, but expressing yourself precisely, persuasively, and with nuance. It means choosing the right word at the right moment, adjusting your tone depending on the situation, and even understanding cultural references, humor, and subtle idioms. Moving from fluency to mastery requires deliberate refinement. It's no longer about survival in the language, it's about sophistication and control. One advanced strategy is to deepen your vocabulary by focusing on collocations and phrasal verbs. Native speakers often use chunks of language rather than single words. For instance, instead of just knowing the verb, make, learn expressions like, make a decision, make a difference, and make up your mind. These chunks sound more natural and are used far more often in speech than formal vocabulary. Learn them in context, and practice using them in your conversations. The more collocations you master, the more fluid and native-like your speech will become. Another important area of improvement is idiomatic language. English is filled with expressions that aren't meant to be taken literally, like hit the nail on the head, under the weather, or spill the beans. Understanding idioms helps you follow natural conversation and media, and using them, sparingly and appropriately, makes your speech sound far more authentic. To learn idioms effectively, group them by theme or situation and practice them in mini dialogues. Watch how they're used in TV shows, and try incorporating one or two into your daily speech. To refine your speaking even further, study discourse markers and transitional phrases. These are words and phrases that help you structure your ideas. On the other hand, actually, as a matter of fact, to be honest, anyway, and so on. Native speakers use these constantly to organize their speech, express opinions, and signal changes in topic. Practicing these helps your conversations sound more organized and less robotic. Try recording yourself explaining a topic using 5 different discourse markers. It's a practical and focused way to improve. At this level, pronunciation becomes more than just avoiding mistakes. It becomes about rhythm, stress, and intonation. These elements form the music of English. Mastering stress-timed rhythm, for example, means understanding that in English, some words are naturally stressed while others are reduced. For example, what are you going to do? Often sounds like, what you gonna do? In fast, natural speech. By training with these natural reductions and connected speech, you'll not only understand native speakers better but also sound smoother and more fluent yourself. Shadowing remains a valuable tool, even at the advanced level. But now, you can go deeper. Choose a TED Talk or a YouTube video with a clear, expressive speaker. Don't just mimic their words, mimic their style. Match their pauses, their energy, their emotion. Try to become that speaker for a moment. This helps you internalize the subtle features of natural English speech, such as pitch variation and dramatic emphasis. Over time, your own speaking style will grow more dynamic and expressive. To master English, you must also learn to adapt your speaking to different contexts. Casual conversations are very different from formal presentations. Job interviews require different language than chatting with friends. Learn to switch registers depending on your audience. You can practice this by taking one topic, like your favorite movie, and explaining it in 3 styles: casual, to a friend; professional, to a colleague; and persuasive, to a debate judge. This adaptability makes you a more effective and confident communicator. Reading and writing continue to play an important role at this stage, especially with complex sentence structures. Read opinion articles, essays, and fiction in English, not just for comprehension, but for style. Notice how authors express abstract ideas, transition between points, or convey emotion. Try imitating these styles in your own spoken summaries. Summarizing what you read or watched, aloud, builds not only your vocabulary but also your speaking fluency and narrative ability. At the mastery stage, you can begin to analyze your own speech critically. Record longer clips of yourself, maybe giving a short talk or explaining a concept, and then listen with a teacher's mindset. Identify your filler words, awkward pauses, or grammar slips. Ask, did I sound confident? Was my meaning clear? Could I have chosen a better word? This kind of self-analysis, done regularly, leads to steady improvement. Better still, if you can get feedback from native speakers or advanced tutors, you'll gain even deeper insight. Practice real-life simulations. If you're preparing for a job, practice mock interviews. If you're studying abroad, simulate classroom discussions. If you're interested in travel, simulate airport interactions or tourist conversations. Practicing in context trains you to respond naturally under pressure. You can even record these simulations, reflect on them, and repeat them with improvements. It's like rehearsing for a performance, you get better with each run. Finally, give yourself space to grow into your new voice. Language mastery isn't just about technical skill, it's also about identity. As you speak more fluently, you may find that your personality feels different in English. You may joke differently, express yourself in new ways, or see the world from a fresh perspective. Embrace this transformation. Language isn't just about speaking, it's about becoming. And when you approach it with curiosity, purpose, and persistence, there's no limit to how far your English can take you. Part 5. The final section explains how to make English a lasting part of your life. It covers how to change your environment to English, pursue hobbies in English, and engage in creative or professional projects using the language. It also promotes thinking in English, building relationships, helping others learn, and setting new challenges. Ultimately, this part encourages embracing English as part of your identity and using it to grow personally and professionally over time. Living the language, integrating English into your life. Reaching fluency in English isn't the final destination, it's the beginning of a lifelong relationship with the language. To truly sustain and deepen your skills, English must become a living part of your everyday experience. When you integrate it into your habits, hobbies, goals, and even your identity, you no longer need to practice English, you live it. And that's when your skills stop plateauing and start evolving naturally, without as much conscious effort. One of the most effective ways to live the language is to turn English into your default setting. Change the language on your phone, your apps, and your computer to English. Follow English speaking accounts on social media. Subscribe to English YouTube channels about topics you genuinely enjoy, whether it's cooking, science, gaming, or fashion. This subtle environmental shift means you'll be constantly absorbing new words and expressions, even during your downtime. You'll start to think in English without realizing it, and thinking in English is one of the surest signs of fluency. Another powerful method is to pursue your personal interests in English. Love fitness. Follow English-speaking fitness influencers. Passionate about photography. Join English-speaking photography forums. Enjoy reading. Switch to English novels, starting with easier ones and moving up. This is the magic of language learning. When you combine it with what you already love, it no longer feels like study. It feels like fun. Your brain absorbs more when you're emotionally engaged, and your speaking becomes more fluid when you're talking about something you're excited about. Travel, if possible, is a transformative experience for language learners. Being in an English-speaking country forces you to use the language in real-life situations, ordering food, asking for directions, chatting with locals. It's full immersion, and it accelerates learning dramatically. But even if you can't travel, you can simulate that immersion online. Join English language virtual meetups, attend webinars, take online classes taught by native speakers, or volunteer for international causes. These experiences expose you to real accents, real expressions, and real communication challenges, all of which help refine your speaking. Engaging in creative projects in English is another excellent strategy. Start a YouTube channel or podcast where you talk about your interests in English. Keep a video diary where you share your thoughts every day. Write short stories, record voiceovers, or create tutorials. These creative outlets help you practice structured speaking, develop storytelling skills, and build confidence. They also give you something tangible to look back on, a track record of your progress over time. If you're working or studying, try using English professionally. Write emails, give presentations, or take notes in English. Offer to lead English language discussions in meetings. This not only polishes your formal speaking but also helps you learn the vocabulary relevant to your career. The more you use English in real, practical contexts, the more natural and effortless it becomes. Over time, English won't feel like a foreign language, it will feel like a second skin. Another subtle but important habit is thinking in English. Challenge yourself to solve problems in English, make grocery lists in English, or silently narrate your day using English phrases. When you stop translating from your native language and start generating ideas directly in English, fluency flows much faster. You'll reduce hesitation, increase your response speed, and become more spontaneous in conversations. It's a shift that happens gradually but has a profound effect on speaking ability. Make English part of your relationships, too. If you have friends or family members who are also learning, try switching to English together, even for short periods each day. This creates a safe, supportive environment to speak and experiment with new phrases. Alternatively, make friends online who only speak English. Regular conversations with them will not only improve your language skills but also broaden your worldview. Language is about people, and the relationships you build through English can be deeply meaningful. As your fluency grows, you may start to feel the desire to give back. Teaching others, even informally, can reinforce your own skills. Help someone new to English by explaining grammar, offering corrections, or practicing conversation. Teaching forces you to explain things clearly, which deepens your understanding. It also keeps you humble and connected to the learning journey, reminding you of how far you've come. To maintain long-term progress, keep setting new challenges. Enter a speech contest, give a public talk, or take a language certification exam like IELTS or TEFL. These goals give you something concrete to aim for and keep your motivation high. Treat English like a lifelong craft, a skill you can always sharpen, explore, and master. Just like athletes never stop training, fluent speakers never stop learning. The language continues to grow, and so can you. Finally, embrace English as part of who you are. Let it change how you see the world, how you connect with others, and how you express yourself. English isn't just a skill. It's a bridge to opportunity, creativity, and global community. When you live the language, it lives in you. And every sentence you speak adds to a story that is uniquely yours, a story of persistence, transformation, and endless possibility. And that brings us to the end of our story on how to improve your English speaking skills. Thank you for joining me here on Learn English. Remember, Fluency isn't about being perfect, it's about being brave, consistent, and curious. Keep speaking, keep learning, and most importantly, enjoy the journey. If this story inspired you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more helpful content. Until next time, keep practicing and let English become a part of your everyday life. You've got this.